A Texas House investigative committee cited several failures from the law enforcement response to school security protocols that contributed to the tragedy at Robb Elementary. Good evening, I'm Blake Hansen. 19 students and 2 teachers were killed during that rampage. Today, the committee stopped short of saying that the botched response actually cost more lives. But the report does say it is, quote, plausible some of the victims could have survived if they did not have to wait some 73 minutes. Fox 4's Davidson Tendry reports.
There were multiple systemic failures.
The House Investigative Committee is releasing its findings after interviewing dozens of officials and witnesses in closed-door sessions.
There was a lack of effective overall command that day.
The committee says there were nearly 400 officers at the school as it took police 77 minutes to kill the attacker.
Everyone who came on the scene talked about this being chaotic.
Chaotic with an overall lackadaisical approach by law enforcement. According to the report, both Uvalde CISD Police Chief Pete Arredondo and the Uvalde Police SWAT Commander were among the first responding officers, but there was no clear incident commander and poor communication both inside and outside.
The fact that there was no overall commander outside the building where there should have been one should have been known by many. There were officers in that building who knew or should have known more needed to be done.
The attacker used this AR-15 on the left to fire more than 100 rounds in 2.5 minutes before law enforcement arrived, according to the report. However, it reads the committee has not received medical evidence that would inform a judgment about whether breaching the classroom sooner could have saved lives or mitigated injuries. Still,
multiple systemic failures.
The committee is providing facts. For now, it's not making suggestions. However, it believes law enforcement must be held accountable.
If somebody knew there were victims in there being killed or dying and did not do more, I believe those agencies will have to find accountability for those officers.
The committee says there were warning signs surrounding the attacker.
He fits the profile of many. He came from a broken home.
The report reads, the attacker developed sociopathic and violent tendencies, but he received no mental health assistance. Still, it finds there was no information actually known to law enforcement or the school district that should have identified this attacker as a threat.
He struggled in school, both academically and socially. He struggled to fit in and eventually became isolated. He networked through his peers, with his peers through social media and violent video games, and ultimately had a fixation on school shootings and even developed the nickname school shooter.
The report also points to mistakes within Robb Elementary. Poor Wi-Fi connectivity and the failure to use the intercom system resulted in not all teachers receiving timely notice of the lockdown, including the teacher in room 111, where the gunman entered. It was also widely known at the school that the lock on 111 was not working, but a repair order was never filed. And the report points to chronic security lapses, with staff propping open doors or leaving them unlocked for easier access.
There were multiple systemic failures, including not locking doors.
The report is also debunking a previous claim by Texas State University's ALERT program, which creates active shooter training. ALERT claimed in a report earlier this month that an officer had an opportunity to shoot and kill the gunman from a distance before he entered the school, but missed the opportunity while asking a supervisor for permission. Now, the House committee says the person in sight of the officer was not the attacker, but actually a school coach.
The people of Uvalde before this, they felt it couldn't happen here.
The House committee encourages everyone to read the roughly 80-page report. Davidson Tendry, Fox 4 News.
The mayor of Uvalde stayed back to respond to the report released by the committee. He said that the city agrees with the review that there was a dramatic failure of command all around, but he still has questions he says weren't answered in the nearly 80-page report.
We have further questions as to who was responsible for taking command, as each agency there had senior level commanders on site. So we want to know which agency took what specific actions to take command and where did the critical breakdown occur.
He says the city's internal investigation is being held up while they wait for more information. They want DPS to release the statements taken from Nevada Police Department officers immediately after the incident. That neighboring city assisted in the response. The New York Times reports days after the massacre, Uvalde officials sought to lay out their own version of the deadly incident. During a private meeting in June, they reportedly asked DPS Director Stephen McCraw to publicly endorse a statement that praised the officers for their quick response to the shooting. The document states there was zero hesitation and that officers moved directly toward the gunfire and only repelled when the gunman fired at them. The Times reports McCraw refused to go along with it. He has called the police response to the shooting an abject failure.